83-year-old Cosby was released yesterday after serving almost 3 years in prison. Cosby was let out of prison after a shocking decision by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to overturn his conviction, due in part to an immunity deal with a former DA. Cosby walked free and came home accompanied by his legal team and spokesperson, who called it a, quote, beautiful day for women. Cosby tweeted a statement saying, quote, I have never changed my stance nor my story. I have always maintained my innocence. He also thanked his fans, supporters, and friends, and he called into a local radio station. Here's what he had to say.
This is not just a black thing. This is for all the people who have been imprisoned wrongfully, regardless of race, color, or creed. Because I met them in there.
Meantime, many of Cosby's accusers are speaking out today, including the woman whose testimony secured his conviction in 2018, Andrea Constan. She tweeted this statement saying, in part, today's decision regarding Bill Cosby is not only disappointing, but of concern, and that it may discourage those who seek justice for sexual assault in the criminal justice system from reporting or participating in the prosecution of the assailant. Okay, so lots to unpack here, but for more on this, we're going to speak to trial attorney and friend of the show, Mark Eiglarsh, and then we can discuss after hearing some clarification from Mark. Mark, you are here with us, correct? I just want to make sure I don't see Mark. There you are. Okay. Hey, Mark. So we've seen this. I am. Good to see you. Now, we've seen this story for 24 hours. We're getting comments in left and right from our viewers, Mark, a lot of them confused. Can you explain why Bill Cosby was released and how it happened so quickly?
Okay. So what the ruling doesn't say is that he's innocent. Let's just make that crystal clear. In nowhere in that ruling does the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, the highest court in the land in Pennsylvania, say that he's innocent. What they're saying is a deal is a deal, and a deal needs to be enforced. So the prosecutor in 2005 made a deal with Cosby and his attorneys saying, look, I don't have enough to prosecute. So now that freed up Cosby to be able in the civil statement, the deposition, to freely then say what occurred. If the charges were still pending, then he would say, well, I'm invoking my Fifth Amendment privilege. I don't want to incriminate myself. But because charges were dropped, Cosby detrimentally relied upon that and then made statements like, you know, I used Quaaludes to get young women into bed. And that, of course, then was used against him in his trial in 2015, and he was convicted. But the court's saying that was unfair. That was a bait and switch. Hey, prosecutors, you can't offer him this type of immunity and say you're not going to go forward and then go forward later on. That's what reversed this conviction.
Mark, I think there's so much confusion because there's, you know, our sensibilities and then there's the legalities. So I want to know, is this proof that the system works, or as Bill Cosby's spokesperson said, or rather that the system is broken?
Look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, right? So for those who want to somehow make sense of this, I want you to pretend that one of your loved ones or you make a deal with a prosecutor. Just generically, put aside Cosby for a second. I know we're angry, we're frustrated, because we in the court of public opinion, we know what he did. He told us what he did. So factually, we know he's not innocent. But legally, think for a second if it was you and a prosecutor promised you something and then later on turned around on their word and didn't give what they promised you. That would be fundamentally unfair. So the highest court is saying it's not about Cosby per se, it's about any prosecutor having to fulfill their word to you, and they can't go back on it. That's a principle that we all can get around because that supports due process, and that's what the Constitution is all about.
So, Mark, you know, Al Jackson here, good to see you. A lot of people, a lot of our viewers are going to be like, what's the bottom line? Can he be tried again, or is he free forever, basically?
He's free against accusations by this particular victim. He's done on that ground. Other victims can come forward, but most of them are barred by the statute of limitations. In fact, I think they would have brought charges by now. So the only thing left is a legal Hail Mary, suggesting that maybe he can go to the U.S. Supreme Court to somehow get this ruling overturned. Not that he would, but prosecutors would do that. But candidly, the chances of that are so low, so remote, it approaches almost no real value, like Samantha's chances of finally competing on the U.S. team in the Olympics for swimming. She was great, but she's a little past her prime.
I appreciate that.
Put it in
analogy.
perspective, yeah.
Thanks for aging me, Mark, Mr. Eiglarsh, if you will. We appreciate you, Mark. We really do. Thank you for clarifying. You provided the answers that so many of our viewers were asking. And for more information on Mark and his law firm, go to speaktomark.com. Also, you guys, he has a fantastic book all about happiness called Be Happy by Choice. You can get it on Amazon or wherever books are sold. Thank you so much, Mark. All right, so now that we've heard the clarifications and the answers from Mark, what are you feeling, Erica?
I feel like Cosby's legal team is trolling women. It's a beautiful day for women. Which women? Are those women who are survivors? Are those women who look down on people who are honest about being survivors? Which women are we referring to? I'd like some clarity on that.
Erica, I remember, we've been doing this for 4 years now, and there's certain days that really stand out to me, and Bill Cosby going away was one of them because of your reaction. It really left a spot in my heart. And how do you feel now? Because I remember how emotional that day was for all of us. Not only you, but for all of us. How does that make you feel now, today? I didn't mean to go.
No, I appreciate that, Jeff, because that day changed my life. It changed my life forever. I was honest for the first time, and it came out on this show. I had never talked about what happened to me and my sexual assault. That day got me into therapy. So I appreciate that. It's just there's so many emotions that go into this story, and it's so complicated. But for those of us who were brave enough to speak our truth after so much time suppressing it, I think it was very important for us to see brave survivors come forward and speak their truth in the face of so much adversity and disparaging things against someone who had been so beloved for so long. It gave so many survivors hope and strength. And I think about that day too, and I really appreciate you saying that because I think about it a lot.
Yeah, it impacted me, I'm sure everyone else as well.
Erica.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing and for your strength and transparency, as always. Wow.